The efforts of faith leaders coming together to discuss and take decisions on matters that affect them was greatly commended by participants. They appreciated the World Council of Churches, Adhere CCN, for this initiative and urged other bloc leaders of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, to emulate the Christian Council of Nigeria. One of the highlights of the consultation was the need for faith leaders to take their place in the fight against stigma and discrimination that always reverses the gains in the fight against HIV. Participants were committed to ensuring that this consultation has a multiplier effect that can improve treatment outcomes of people living with HIV and also place the faith in a better pedestal at responding to general public health issues. At the end of the meeting, all participants resolved as follows: that religious leaders will facilitate treatment adherence for people living with HIV, and this includes young people, women, especially women with disabilities, and others. The need to exceed our limitations and be willing to go beyond the normal by taking ownership of this response was one of the points emphasized. Participants resolved that religious leaders will facilitate treatment adherence for people living with HIV. They resolved that we need to exceed our limitations and be willing to go beyond the normal by taking ownership of the response that is here called for in the fight against HIV. The consultation was an eye-opener to many faith leaders on what needs to be done at their congregations with respect to faith healing and claims for exclusive faith healing. We particularly emphasize that we believe that God is able to do all things, but that God heals only in God's own way and God's own time, and that we must learn to do by obedience what that is before us, or that which is before us, and leave God to do by miracles what only God can do. The meeting further resolved that each participant should return to his or her organization or her institution and step down the training for buying in toward implementation. We resolved that each trainer must have a work plan implementable at his or her level of influence. We called for more collaboration and more partnership, and in fact encouraged those who are already partnering together. And participants sought or committed to ensuring that this collaboration would take place regularly. These were the decisions reached in this very helpful consultation for religious leaders.
My message is, as religious leaders, we really need to take our responsibility in promoting treatment adherence for people living with HIV in our communities. Yes, that's one of the discussions we've been having since 2010, just to say that God heals, but God heals in His own time and when He wants. So we should not command God in terms of healing of HIV. Even the ARVs is a miracle God has given us, because it helps people living with HIV to stay healthy and to live productive life. So already with the ARVs, we have our healing. So we should not emphasize on exclusive claims of faith healing in the HIV response.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. The partnership is premised on the fact that the religious leaders and institutions play a very critical role in the response to HIV globally. And it was identified that it's very important to strengthen that role, to enhance that they help the country as much as possible to achieve epidemic control ensure that many people are enrolled for treatment, and that we address the issues of stigma and discrimination. So PEPFAR and UNAIDS come together to come up with this idea, which was brought into by our religious leaders globally, and Nigeria is one of the countries where we're implementing the program.
Okay, being Nigeria one of the implementing countries, how far would you say your USA projects have gone in combating AIDS treatment and provision of drugs to HIV and AIDS patients?
Yeah, the program has done pretty well. Despite the initial challenges, it has done pretty well. We have quite over 1.7 million Nigerians currently on treatment, and strenuous efforts are being made to ensure that every person that needs to be on treatment is on treatment. And so there is a greater determination by both partners and government to ensure that as much as possible we achieve the target of epidemic control in Nigeria and ensure that we end AIDS by 2030.
There's this unclear issue concerning HIV/AIDS. Is it curable?
Well, we have drugs, ARV drugs, like you are aware of, that can manage HIV and ensure that people live their productive life. We also have drugs that can prevent people from getting infected by HIV. We have pre-exposure prophylaxis as a strategy and intervention that ensure that people who are at risk can take drugs and will not get infected by HIV.